Hello everyone, I'm day weather meteorologist Don Day with your Public Lands Council weekly weather update for this May 14th, 2022. Well, folks, as we take a look at what's coming, we first need to thank the folks at Ag Risk Advisors and WSR Insurance Services Incorporated for sponsoring this weekly weather update. As we take a look ahead, folks, less wind. I think this is something that a lot of folks are going to be happy to hear about. The wind, as we all know, has just been atrocious this spring. It's not only been bad, it's been really bad. Not only with persistent winds in many areas, but some really strong wind gusts like many areas of Nebraska and experienced late this past week, and just the persistent winds that have really dried out the central and southern plains. But we do see a pattern evolving where there's less wind. I don't want to say there won't be any, but let's say through Friday of this upcoming week, we don't see a lot of it. After that, we'll probably have some unsettled weather coming. It's also going to be warmer with some thunderstorm activity. So there's going to be some areas that could get some good old-fashioned springtime late day showers and thunderstorms, and maybe even in the very dry areas of eastern Colorado, if we can get lucky, parts of New Mexico as well, although it'll be spotty, but there will be some shower and thunderstorm activity. This will be especially true east of the divide. West of the divide, it's going to be a little bit drier. Now, we do see a possible bigger change in the weather by late next week and next weekend. We may end up having a pretty strong cold front come out of British Columbia and through the western United States, affecting many of you by late next week. So this would probably be around Friday or late Thursday night into Friday and into the following weekend. The weekend after this one could end up being a lot colder. Now, that is bad news, but it's also good news because those type of fronts this late in the season do tend to be good producers of precipitation, both in the form of snow in the mountains and some areas of showers and thunderstorms on the plains. Over the past 7 days, these are the areas that have gotten wet. And again, it's the same areas that have been getting wet. We have been talking for weeks about this northerly area of the U.S. where the heavier precipitation has been. This is where the storms are transiting. That's why the northerly track right here has really resulted in so much wind. So much wind down here and some very strong wind gusts with thunderstorms in this area here. This very active northerly storm track, while bringing some beneficial and badly needed precipitation to these areas here, has also caused other problems with wind and severe weather. We did get some showers and thunderstorms here, which was good news, but you can see the white areas here in Colorado, Utah, back into central Southern California, Arizona, New Mexico, that continue to just be parched and dry. And as we go ahead for the next 5 to 7 days, we're going to continue to see these northern areas most favored. This is the precipitation anomaly for the last 7 days, and it's again in the same areas. The brown areas are where the precipitation amounts have been lower. Now, this map does not include some of the late week rain that fell in parts of Montana and Wyoming, so this map actually looks better. Taking a look at the latest Drought Monitor, you can still see the worsening drought conditions in the southern areas, while the northern areas, and we'll show you a map here in a moment, have shown some improvement in some locations. And for the last 4 weeks, anywhere you see green, drought status has improved. So you can see these northern areas here, in this area I'm outlining, have had the biggest improvement. Yellow areas, definitely in the southern areas, are where we've had drought conditions get worse. So there is a real dividing line. Seems like Interstate 80 is the dividing line between areas that are getting wet this spring and areas south of Interstate 80 and south of I-70 down to I-40 that have been the driest. There's been some improvement in here with the wet conditions that have developed, and then parts of the southeastern United States are starting to show some dryness as well. Now, as we look at the forecast, this is for this weekend. A mild flow of air coming in off the west coast will mean a moderating trend. We're still going to have some wind this weekend across Montana and up in the Dakotas, but the wind conditions are going to get better down here as we go through the weekend and into early next week. This area of low pressure right here is queued up to come in later on. In the short term, what we're going to see is the pattern being mild right here. Now, this is by next Saturday. A week from today, we have a strong potential cold front moving into the region. When we see a high pressure ridge develop in the Gulf of Alaska like this allows colder air to spill in from the northern latitudes. So despite the really warm stretch of weather that's going to develop this week into the middle parts of this new week coming on up, the end of the week and next weekend could bring rain. And yes, folks, we could see snow. This is the forecast between today and next weekend. You can see more precipitation in the northern areas, but also these areas right here. And there could be more than this here. We could end up more with that, and there could even be some of this a little bit further south. Could get in some needed precipitation. Look at the snowfall forecast. Yeah, folks, I know we're talking about the 21st and 22nd of May by next weekend, but there is some threat by next weekend of some snow in some parts of the northern Rockies and northern high plains. That's something we're going to need to keep an eye on. Temperatures over the next 7 days, this is a little deceiving because over the next 7 days, we are going to be looking at some very warm conditions developing in this area here. But see all the blue and green up here? This blue and green is going to come in by next weekend. So while the short term and the medium range term is going to be warm, the longer range term is going to be for this colder weather, the blue and the green, pushing further south and east into the region. But the southern plains getting the heat that they don't need. Our next update will be the 21st. Have a good week ahead.